So we're starting section 7.2, rational exponents. This is part 1. Before we do that, we're going to have to do some exponents review for product rule, quotient rule, and power rule. Remember, product is another way to say multiplication, quotient is another way to say division, and power rule refers to an exponent of an exponent. So let's go ahead and get started with the product rule. When we have the same base and we're multiplying two bases together, we are going to add the exponents. So x to the third times x to the fourth is equal to x to the seventh. For quotient, when we have the same base and we're dividing, we do the opposite of multiplication and we subtract. So we're going to do x to the fourth over x to the third, which gives us just x. And for the power rule, we're going to go ahead and multiply those two exponents together. So we're going to do 2 times 3, which gives us x to the 6th. So I know we've talked a little bit about exponents, but we're going to be talking about moving from radical notation to exponential notation. So radical notation is what we see typically, and you see the square root of 25 is radical notation. So we're going to move towards the exponential notation where we change the square root into a 1/2 as an exponent. And from there, we know that since these are equivalent, that the square root of 25 and 25 to the 1/2 power is the same thing as 5, which is just a whole number. So we're going to work a little bit like that, and even doing that with cube root. So let's go ahead and do one more. So we're given the cube root of 27, so we're going to move that as to exponential notation and get 27 to the 1/3, and then move it into a whole number, which the cube root of 27 is just 3. So now looking at example 3, we want to make this two different terms into one term, but it's kind of difficult because we can't simplify either. And I apologize, it was supposed to be x squared, not just a 2 under the second term. So we're going to first turn these into exponents and then use our exponent review from the top. So we get x to the 1/3 times x squared to the 1/3. So we're going to start with our power rule and convert x squared to the 1/3 to x to the 2/3, because if you multiply 2 and 1/3 together, we get 2/3. And then we're going to use the product rule, and since they have a common denominator, we can just add the fractions together. And I know it's a little difficult to see, but x to the 3/3 is the same thing as x, so that's our answer. We'll go ahead and do one more. In this case, we are given to us already in exponential form, so we don't have to convert. All we have to do is use the product rule, which means add. So we're going to add 5/7 and -2/7 to give us y to the 3/7. Just remember that when we're adding and subtracting fractions, that if they have a common denominator, we keep the bottom and we just add the top. So 5 minus 2 is 3, and we kept the 7. So this goes along with section 7.2, rational exponents, assignment number 1 on my Pearson Mind Lab.